The worn leather briefcase trembled in Marcus Chen's weathered hands as he sat in the marble-floored lobby of Pinnacle Industries, watching executives in $1,000 suits glide past like they owned the world. His own suit, a thrift store find he'd pressed with an iron that flickered on and off, suddenly felt like a costume that fooled no one. The security guard had already given him 3 suspicious glances, and Marcus wondered if desperation had a smell, because he was drowning in it. His phone buzzed with a text from his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. "Good luck today, Daddy. I drew you a superhero cape to wear to your interview. Love you Infinity+1. The message came with a shaky photo of a crayon drawing showing a stick figure man with a red cape and the words, "My hero Dad," scrawled in purple letters. Marcus's throat tightened. If only she knew how far from a superhero he felt right now. Marcus Chen. A sharp voice cut through his thoughts. A tall woman in a pristine blazer stood before him, clipboard in hand, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. "Mr. Davidson will see you now." The elevator ride to the 40th floor felt like ascending to Judgment Day. Through the glass walls of the conference room, Marcus could see the Seattle skyline stretching endlessly, a view that probably cost more than his annual rent. CEO Richard Davidson sat behind a desk the size of Marcus's entire living room, silver hair perfectly styled, examining Marcus's resume like it was contaminated. "So," Davidson said without looking up, his voice carrying the casual cruelty of someone who'd never worried about paying rent. "Marcus Chen, unemployed for 8 months. He glanced up with a smirk that made Marcus's stomach clench. "And before that, you were a night janitor at a community center. For someone applying to be our facilities director, this is quite ambitious." Heat flooded Marcus's face. "Sir, I know my background might seem unconventional, but..." "Unconventional?" Davidson laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "That's one way to put it. Mr. Chen, do you have any idea what this position entails? Managing a $50 million facility, overseeing a team of 30 professionals, liaising with corporate executives." He tossed the resume across the desk dismissively. "You clean floors for a living." "I manage the entire community center during emergencies," Marcus said, his voice steadying despite the humiliation burning through him. "When the director had his heart attack last year, I kept that place running for 3 months. I coordinated with contractors, managed budgets, supervised staff." "A community center," Davidson interrupted, leaning back in his leather chair with theatrical amusement. "Mr. Chen, we're not running a soup kitchen here. This is a Fortune 500 company. We need someone with an MBA, not someone who learned management from mopping up after basketball games." Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. This wasn't just about him. This was about Lily's future, about the electricity bill sitting unpaid on his kitchen table, about the eviction notice he'd hidden in his sock drawer so she wouldn't see it. "Mr. Davidson, I may not have a business degree, but I understand what it means to take care of something important. I've been doing it my whole life." "Taking care of what?" "A building full of teenagers playing pickup games." Davidson's laughter was sharper now, designed to cut. "Mr. Chen, let me save us both some time. You're clearly a dedicated person, but you're in the wrong league here. Maybe try applying at another community center. Or perhaps a school district. Somewhere more suitable." The words hung in the air like poison. Marcus stood slowly, his legs feeling like lead, when the conference room door opened. "Daddy." A small figure in a faded yellow sundress burst through the doorway, her bare feet pattering against the polished floor. Lily threw herself into Marcus's arms with the full force of 8 years old, her dark hair flying everywhere, completely oblivious to the shocked silence that had descended on the room. "Lily," Marcus whispered, his heart hammering. "Sweetheart, what are you doing here? Where are your shoes?" "Mrs. Rodriguez had to go to the hospital for her baby, so I had to come find you," she said breathlessly, her small hands cupping his face with the seriousness only children possess. "I was scared you'd be done with your superhero meeting before I could give you this." She pressed something into his palm, a crumpled piece of paper. Marcus unfolded it with trembling fingers. It was another drawing, this one showing 2 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, with the words, "Daddy plus Lily equals family," written in her careful, crooked handwriting. "I made it during lunch at the after-school program," she said proudly. Mrs. Martinez said families are the most important thing in the whole world, and that's why you're the best daddy ever, because you take care of me no matter what. Marcus felt his eyes burning. Behind them, he could hear Davidson's chair creak, but the world had narrowed to just Lily's face, open and trusting and completely unaware that their universe was falling apart. "Why aren't you wearing shoes, baby?" Marcus asked softly. Lily looked down at her feet, then back up at him with the matter-of-fact honesty of childhood. "They got too small, and you said we had to wait until your job interview was over to get new ones. But it's okay. I like feeling the ground. It's like the earth is saying hello to my toes." The silence in the room was deafening. Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the weight of failure settle on his shoulders like a lead blanket. This was it, the final humiliation. His daughter, barefoot and innocent, had just walked into his last chance at salvation and witnessed him being dismissed like yesterday's garbage. When he opened his eyes, Davidson was staring at Lily with an expression Marcus couldn't read. "I'm sorry," Marcus said, his voice barely a whisper. "She wasn't supposed to. I'll take her and go." But Davidson held up a hand. He was looking at Lily with something that might have been wonder, his earlier smugness completely gone. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Davidson asked, and his voice was different now, gentler, almost tentative. "Lily Chen," she said proudly. "I'm 8¾ years old, and my daddy is the best daddy in the whole world. He makes me breakfast every morning and reads me stories even when he's tired from working all night, and he never, ever forgets to tell me he loves me." Davidson's face seemed to be fighting some internal battle. "Your daddy works at night. He has to," Lily said matter-of-factly. "That's when they need people to clean the community center. But he always comes home in time to make me lunch for school, and then he sleeps while I'm in class so he can help me with homework when I get home." "And where's your mommy?" Davidson asked quietly. Lily's expression grew serious. "Mommy went to heaven when I was little. But Daddy says she's always watching over us, and that's why we have to be extra brave and extra kind, because she's counting on us." Marcus watched Davidson's throat work as he swallowed. The CEO's gaze moved from Lily to Marcus, and something fundamental seemed to shift in the room's atmosphere. "Lily," Davidson said carefully, "can I ask you something? What makes your daddy a superhero?" Her face lit up like the 4th of July. "Oh, lots of things. When the big storm broke the windows at the community center, Daddy stayed all night to fix them so the kids would have somewhere safe to play. And when Mr. Peterson couldn't afford his medicine, Daddy gave him money even though it meant we ate peanut butter sandwiches for a whole week. And when the heat broke at Christmas, Daddy made sure all the families staying there had blankets and hot soup, even though he had to ask the church for help with our own heat." Davidson's professional mask was crumbling with each word. "He did all that, and more," Lily continued enthusiastically. "Daddy says taking care of people isn't a job, it's a calling. He taught me that being rich isn't about having lots of money, it's about having lots of love and sharing it with everyone who needs it." The room fell silent again. Davidson stood slowly, walked around his massive desk, and knelt down to Lily's eye level. His expensive suit touched the floor without hesitation. "Lily," he said softly, "I think I owe your daddy an apology." He stood and faced Marcus, and for the first time since the interview began, there was respect in his eyes. "Mr. Chen, I've spent the last 20 minutes judging you based on pieces of paper and preconceived notions. But your daughter just taught me more about leadership in 5 minutes than I've learned in 20 years of boardroom meetings." Marcus felt the world tilting. "Sir, real leadership isn't about degrees or titles," Davidson continued, his voice thick with emotion. "It's about service. It's about sacrifice. It's about putting the needs of others before your own, even when, especially when, it costs you everything." He looked down at Lily, then back at Marcus. "You've been managing the most important facility of all. A home, a family, a community. And from what I can see, you've been doing it brilliantly." Davidson walked to the window, staring out at the city. When he spoke again, his voice was barely audible. "I have a daughter too. Had a daughter. She's 28 now, and we haven't spoken in 5 years because I chose board meetings over bedtime stories, profit margins over parent-teacher conferences. I told myself I was providing for her, but what I was really doing was providing for my ego." He turned back to face them. "Mr. Chen, the facilities director position is yours if you want it. But more than that, he looked at Lily's bare feet, and his jaw tightened with resolve. I want you to help me restructure how this company thinks about leadership, about what really matters. Marcus felt his knees go weak. I don't understand. Facilities director is just the beginning, Davidson said firmly. I want to create a new position, Director of Community Impact. Someone who can help us remember that a company's true value isn't measured in stock prices, but in the lives it touches. Someone who understands that the most important facilities we manage aren't buildings, they're families, communities, futures. Lily tugged on Davidson's suit jacket. Does this mean Daddy got the job? Davidson smiled. A real smile, perhaps the first genuine one he'd worn in years. It means your daddy is going to help a lot of people, just like he's been doing all along. Except now he'll have the resources to help even more. He walked to his desk and pulled out a business checkbook. Consider this a signing bonus, he said, writing quickly. Enough to cover first month's expenses and. He looked pointedly at Lily's feet. New shoes. The very best ones money can buy. But Lily shook her head solemnly. Thank you, mister, but Daddy says the best things in life aren't things at all. They're moments like this one. She looked up at her father with pure adoration. Right, Daddy. Marcus knelt down and pulled his daughter into his arms, tears streaming down his face. That's right, baby girl. That's exactly right. Davidson watched them, something broken inside him beginning to heal. Tomorrow, he would call his own daughter. Tonight, he would go home to an empty mansion and remember what he'd lost in his climb to the top. But right now, in this moment, he was witnessing something he'd forgotten existed. A love so pure it could transform stone hearts and change the trajectory of lives with nothing more than crayon drawings and bare feet on marble floors. Sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't money or influence or corporate might. Sometimes it's simply a child's unwavering belief that her daddy is a superhero. And sometimes, just sometimes, she's absolutely right.